We are taking an in-depth look at Dillon Thieneman today on CHGO Bears. One of his former coaches is going to join us. We're going to play some clips from Dillon himself. Deep look at the first-round pick, the newest Chicago Bear. It all starts right now on the CHGO Bears Podcast. Welcome into the CHGO Bears Podcast. We are once again live from the glorious Xfinity Loft in the West Loop of the greatest city in the world, Chicago. Adam Hoge, Mark Carman, and Greg Braggs Jr.
And Brandon Spano,
show, who has no idea the show is starting. I just like to point out, it's nice of Steven to be here right now.
Steven.
Great job, Steven. Steven, our great producer. We would be lost without him, and we kind of were today.
All right. When the CEO asked to go out to lunch, I go out to lunch. That's how it goes.
Actually, when the CEO asked, you said no, and then I told you when the CEO asked you go to lunch, and then you went to lunch. So if you want, you could throw me under the bus too. I thought that Steven meeting with Brandon to let Brandon know how bad I am was important.
We talked about.
That's what I figured. So I wanted to make sure that was,
Well, they saw the results of that survey that we encouraged everybody to do, and he had to fly here to Chicago, and now we can all smell that he's here. But,
he does smell good, I'll say that.
He always does. He always does.
You guys got a great
I drove him to the airport once. My wife's car smelled like Brandon Spano for 3 weeks.
It would be amazing if Greg Bragg's got some cologne.
So it's just if you're watching for the first time ever, I mean, it's not the first time ever we started the show at 101, that's for sure. But it is the first time that it was actually Steven's fault.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually thought it was our fault for not realizing that Steven would start staring in the eyes of Brandon and would not make it back in time for the show, and we should have gotten Sarah ready.
I told you that immediately.
You did.
The second I walked in,
I go. He went to lunch with Brandon. And Carm's like, yeah. I go, that's not okay. He goes, it's fine. I go, it's not fine. We have a lot of things we need to do. Carm, oblivious. Well, like what? Oh, I don't know. Ads, clips, link, set,
tweet,
shares, tweet.
And I would just like to point out, Greg Braggs did all of those things. So he is the hero.
Yeah,
well, I thought it was a good exercise.
He wasn't the hero we wanted, but he's the hero we needed.
I said to Sean, I think it's a good exercise for the day that Steven just collapses and passes out, and then we just continue on with the show. We need those contingency plans. No, we're not calling an ambulance. We're going to make sure we get the show to you people.
Well, the real hero is in the chat already, and he's got a challenge for our chat. The Iceberg is back with more. He says, I will donate 10 YouTube memberships for every 50 likes, starting with 200 likes.
Wow.
If we get to 500, I'll donate 50 and instead of the 10. So 200 gets 10, 250 gets 10, and 500 gets 50. Sorry, I screwed up the end there.
A lot of math there. All I know is that if we get to 200 likes, the Iceberg's going to start giving away a lot of memberships. So if you want a membership, hit that like button because there's a decent chance you will end up with. Also, let's shout out Crystal here off the top of the show, $10 super chat. She's apparently not having a great day. So we're going to lift her up right now. She's sending us love. We're sending it right back. Hit the like button for Crystal.
Crystal deserves a great day every day. There's nobody that brings more light into the world than Crystal. I hate seeing that she's having a bad day, but I know she's going to have a great day tomorrow. And as they say in the business, you know what the most important day is, Gregory?
Friday.
Yesterday.
The next day. Nobody got it right, but Crystal.
Especially in 2 weeks.
What's the most important game? The next game. What's the most important show? The next show after we do this show.
I don't know. That game they lost to the Rams seemed pretty important.
Well, all right, but then you got to move on, buddy. Okay. That's in the past.
That's a good point. All right. Well, speaking of that, we are going to actually do the opposite and continue to look back at the draft. Dillon Thieneman. We've talked a lot about a lot of different things, the process, who they ended up with. They didn't get a defensive lineman, all that crap. They ended up with a pretty good safety, though, Dillon Thieneman. So today's show is about Dillon Thieneman, and we're going to hear from him a little bit, and we're also going to hear from one of his high school coaches, Josh Miracle.
Yep.
It's a Miracle.
He's a defensive coordinator when Dillon was at Westfield High School. Now he's the head coach of Westfield High School. So that was a fun conversation. You'll get that here in a few minutes. But, yeah, I mean, I think the deeper you look into Dillon Thieneman, the more you see just how much of a home run they hit. I mean, this guy has when you talk about playing fast, the first thing everyone always goes to is your speed and your athleticism. But, like, as we've learned with some players, like a guy like DeMarco Jackson, for instance, you can play fast by identifying and doing your homework and understanding your keys and understanding your reads. And I think when you see with Dillon Thieneman, I think the thing that stands out as you research him and really understand what makes him tick, he truly is a student of the game. And so I'm definitely excited to see him get onto the practice field. I know minicamp's coming up here soon, but this guy I think is really going to push that locker room because of how hard of a worker he is.
Well, I know we have some cuts from Dillon that we wanted to play here off the top. But Greg, why don't you tee us up on where you want to go here?
Yeah, I mean, we have a few different ones just to kind of highlight what makes him tick, and we'll go through those. But to start things off, this is Dillon Thieneman talking about what his best intangible is.
Best intangible? I think just that hard work discipline. Like discipline, showing up what I need to do every day. Like at Oregon, I had my specific set schedule. Every day I would wake up around 5, get there about 5:20, and then go through my routine and just do what I did every day.
Where does that discipline come from?
I think it comes from first seeing my parents, how they operate in their jobs, and then see my older brothers, what they had to do to work their spot onto Purdue. And I kind of took that mindset, that demeanor, and just rolled with it.
You know, when I hear stuff like that, it also makes – I hadn't really made this point yet, and I do mean this with all due respect to that hat that's right there in front of us. But there's a big difference between West Lafayette, Indiana, and Eugene, Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
That guy fought his way, like battled his ass off with that discipline for a god-awful Purdue team that went 1-11, where the coach got fired and everything. And he made what I'm sure was not an easy decision to leave a school that basically his entire family has deep roots to. His brothers played there. His dad was there, graduated from there, built his business with the education he got there. Like, this is a Purdue family. And he unfortunately showed up there at the exact wrong time where they were terrible. And he goes through all those losses, and he gets this opportunity to go all the way to Oregon, which is one of the few states in our country I've never been to. Like that's not a place that is the most visited, but Eugene, from everything I've seen, is an incredible place, an incredible atmosphere, it's a weird addition to the Big Ten still, but it's a great program. And he ends up in the national championship game, ironically against his old rival Indiana,
right?
Which is a weird thing how that all worked out. But just good for him.
Yep.
You know, good for him. I just feel, because players like that who grind their way with that type of loyalty, and eventually, look, he's got to look out for himself, and he did. And that definitely helped his draft stock, because the Bears talked specifically over the weekend about how Oregon put him in different positions, showed more of his versatility, and they got to see both sides of his game that really sold the Bears on the versatility he could bring to Dennis Allen's defense.
Well, what he just talked about in that clip is a huge superpower. Everyone knows that it's easy to do something once. I'm not going to eat that, hot fudge sundae that I really would love to crush right now. I'm going to go work out today. I'm going to study really hard today. But then to do it day in and day out, that he's talking about, I thought it was a great answer to, whatever the question was, what's your nuance thing or however.
What's your best intangible?
Your best intangible.
Yep.
Well, it's more than an intangible what he nailed. Like that honestly, that feels like a Mamba mentality moment. Shout out to my guy John Greenberg. That if you get up every day at 5 a.m, who as a college kid, who wants to wake up at 5 a.m? Not me, not you. You didn't go to college. I'm sure Hoge probably maybe got up once at 5 o'clock in the morning for
not in college,
but probably
I purposely didn't take classes
right.
like before 11 a.m.
It's
college.
Exactly.
I was up before the college kids.
Okay, well you were up because you were still up.
That's why he was able.
That's fair. Oh, do I have some stories there?
Never went to bed.
But to your point, Hoge, about that when you talked about that adversity he went through his sophomore year, he said in the part, I didn't clip this part, but he said he was very grateful for that because it taught him something about himself and going through that adversity. And that's something you're going to have to go through when you get to your NFL career. I mean, Caleb Williams went through that his rookie year. And then I think the other thing that stood out, another thing that I didn't clip, but he said he wanted to go somewhere because he didn't feel like he was being properly developed. And that to me is like, that's a strong statement. Like, hey, they're not doing enough for me to make sure I get to the next level. Now he's at the next level, coming out as a junior. We're seeing so many people coming out as 24, 25-year-olds. This kid's still a junior. Could have played another year. Nope. He's NFL ready right now. So, like, this is a guy, like I said, just student of the game, the work ethic stuff, the technical. You saw how he approached the combine in terms of the testing. And that's part of the reason he was catapulted in the first round. And there were some that thought he'd go top 15 because of what he did from a testing standpoint at the combine. And I just feel like he approaches every facet of his game like that. And so to set up the next clip here that we have on Thieneman is, to me, and you'll hear a little bit about this when we hear from Josh Miracle, his former defensive coordinator in high school. But this guy is, I just feel like, kind of always pissed off. Like, he don't want to hear how great he is. And the constant theme I hear through articles written about him or videos I hear where he speaks on himself, he constantly wants to know what he is not good at. He doesn't want to hear what he's great at. And so this was something to me that stood out in that regard, where he talks about how he's working on his weaknesses.
I feel like I got a lot more developed, worked on my weaknesses from Purdue and from that second season there. Really focused on what I wasn't good at, and then was able to expand my game, play multiple coverages over there at Oregon, and that would prepare me for the next level.
What were those weaknesses that you wanted to work on?
One huge one was open field tackling. Coming from that second year at Purdue, wasn't the best that year, and then it was something I really worked on in the offseason, worked on with my coaches, doing extra drills there, and I feel like I really excelled at that now.
I think that actually right there explains partly why I've read and heard some mixed opinions on his tackling, and they've been sort of all over the board. You hear the Bears talk up his tackling. I watched some highlights because I probably watched more of his Oregon film than Purdue film, being quite honest. And I'm like, I don't understand why people are doubting his tackling. It looks great. And I think it's because he got a hell of a lot better last year at it. I think he's always willing, but there was some knockback factor, I think, when you look at some of the Purdue stuff. So I think it's just something that really improved.
Well, it's also that he's able to give such a direct answer. What were your weaknesses? Well, there were lots of things. There's a bunch of stuff that I was working on. He could have easily said that. No, he went right to it. Open field tackling. I spent a lot of time working on it. So A, he's aware of it. B, he's willing to talk about it. C, I guess most importantly, he's willing to work on it to get himself to the highest level that he can reach. So, again, Mamba mentality. Make your weakness your strength. That's what the great ones do. If you have that ability to lean into knowing what your weakness is and working it to make it a strength, that's when you really are cooking.
And Hoge, to piggyback off what you were saying about him in tackling and how it was deemed a weakness. When I watched his Purdue tape, he was more of a wrap-up tackler, and in Oregon he was more of a thumper. Mm-hmm. And that's where you start seeing. It was surprising that he had more forced fumbles earlier in his career, but then you look at Oregon. And all of a sudden, now he starts popping everybody. And going back even further, and I don't know if the Bears will opt to do this, he loved playing special teams in high school. And that was one thing that he always wanted to be the hammer, not the nail. And that was an opportunity for him to do it.
Yeah. What people said about him is that he comes down super hot. If you watch the tape, it's like, he's just super aggressive. you can dial that back and learn how to be a little bit more patient. That like the functionality is there to do what he needs to do, which is exciting.
And I was with you, Hoge. Like, guy gets, even in high school, 100 tackles a year. Bank on it. Like, and yet that's his biggest weakness. Well, if that's his biggest weakness and he's getting 100 tackles a year, I think they're in good shape with the prospect that they just picked up. And then, we'll get to this last clip, but I just think it can't be understated, all due respect to Purdue, but when he goes to Oregon and now is showing his versatility and playing in so many different coverages, he talked about covering the slot, rolling down in the box, rolling back to the post, being a hook defender, covering that curl flat, getting in the cover 4, playing man in the slot. He said he loves rolling down in the box. And then the thing that I found so interesting, obviously he played a lot of cover 2, and he can be your center fielder, and he's got great ball tracking skills and really understands that element of the game, even dating back to high school, and we'll hear from that here in our next segment in our interview. But another thing I thought was really interesting was when he talked about at Oregon where they played an umbrella coverage, where they asked him to do some essentially linebacker play. He's not linebacker by definition, but where he is on the field, kind of that rover right in the middle. He was essentially their middle linebacker in some coverages. So this is a guy that is just, you can put him in so many different spots. And to me, going back to this student of the game aspect, he said the light for him came on in terms of studying the game in high school. Play this clip here from the Combine where he talks about his process throughout the week, but this is just where I think it highlights just how fast this guy is going to be, not just from an athleticism standpoint, but from an identifying what you're looking at. And that, to me, is what is going to make his play speed feel like it's off the chart. So here's Dillon talking about his process of how he works through the week to get ready for game day.
What other new install we have for that week, I'm just reviewing with the guys on the defense. And then I have like a specific order. I watch my film. So like Mondays I'll do like early down run game, Tuesdays second 7+, quarterback cut up, Wednesdays like third down red area, and then I'm watching full games after that. So just making sure I have a feel for every position.
So look, there's a good comment I just saw while we were playing that about just – it just seems like the Bears drafted all guys this year that are kind of all ball. Like just they work. The work ethic is there, and
like Ben said, what would they do without football?
Right. And I think that is a reflection of the head coach, and I also think that is a big reason why you saw their board pared down the way it is. I mean, really, any player that had any doubt about the work ethic or want to or any of that stuff, I think was crossed out this year. Now you can criticize that. If you want to and say that sometimes you got to take swings on certain guys and see if you can get out of it, fine. But like, I get it. This head coach wants certain guys. He wants a certain brand of football. And I think that having that conviction and having that identity is something the Bears really haven't had in a long time. So I'm not going to fault them for sticking with it. And you can read a lot of my 10 Bears Things column that came out this morning. But just an example was Caleb Banks, to me, from what I understand, it wasn't just the foot issues. It was sometimes maybe the motivation behind to consistently put it together over multiple games and sometimes even just a string of plays within a game. Like, there's too many questions there.
Zion Young, another guy that, there was a lot of conversation of how much he can consistently play and how much he's going to be dedicated to his craft, and doesn't feel like there's as much questions here with Dillon.
It's not a normal human thing to be able to be great every single day. That's not how we're built. We are built to take naps. We are built to relax. We are built to go for comfort. Exactly. We are built to drink Dr. Peppers. We are built to
Diet Dr.
Pepper. My bad. Barb, thanks again for the cookies, by the way. I had one today. It was delicious. So what he's talking about and the process, it's a superpower in my mind.
All right, we need to take our first time out. I know we are over 100 likes as the Iceberg challenged everybody to get up to 200, and he will start giving away YouTube memberships, which gets you extra content and free super chats, one per month. So keep hitting that like button. You might end up with one of those courtesy of the Iceberg. We're going to have a conversation coming up with Josh Miracle, who was Dillon Thieneman's high school defensive coordinator. That's coming up next, but first.
Hey, shout out to our friends at Xfinity and the 5-year price guarantee. Yeah. Let's give it up. Absolutely. Sean supporting today. Bragg's producing in this moment. Steven will be here at some point. What if you could have reliable and intelligent Wi-Fi and you absolutely knew that everyone would be in the right places all the time? We don't have that, but you have it with Xfinity and their 5-year price guarantee. The best part about it, too, no annual contracts, no hidden fees. Xfinity's best equipment is included. They can bring that right to your house, and you're going to be living the dream. If everybody in the house is streaming something, don't you worry. Xfinity Wi-Fi, it's going to work seamlessly. It's a beautiful thing. And, take it from me. Championships are won. Bears are getting one next year. White Sox. Look at the White Sox. 2 games back.
We're not bad.
No, they're not bad. Records are broken. Dreams grow bigger. Thank you.
Go.
But your Wi-Fi, it should stay reliable. The price should stay put. Lock in your price. Unlock the possibilities with Xfinity. Learn more at Xfinity.com. Xfinity, imagine that. Select plans only. Restrictions apply.
And let's hear it for Four Seasons.
Yeah.
4 Seasons.
Yeah.
We love Four Seasons. Hey, it's never too late for Four Seasons AC or furnace tune-up. Schedule yours now. You'll save $50. It's only $89.95. When do you get with that? Well, you get it's backed up by an industry-leading 1-year no-breakdown guarantee for peace of mind all year, and that is backed by your trusted local experts at Four Seasons. If you have a plumbing or electrical emergency, call Four Seasons. Heating or cooling not working,
Call Four Seasons.
That's right. Thinking about a whole home generator, they've got you covered.
You have a mic that works.
Four Seasons is going to guarantee you same-day installation for all your heating, cooling, plumbing, electrical, and generator needs. Four Seasons, your trusted local experts. Heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. Visit FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's FourSeasonsHeatingCooling.com. Yeah.
This is Mark Carman. I'm sorry I didn't introduce you. Josh, I apologize.
Josh, I'm Mark. I'm the leader of the show.
I'm the
then head coach now. And I don't know, did you become better than his brothers? And we really have an asset here.
Yeah, kind of an interesting deal here. His brothers went to Guerin Catholic, so another school. And then, we were lucky enough to have Dillon here. He decided to stay in Westfield because they have lived in Westfield. And he came here and you could just tell the work ethic was different, and then the high caliber football IQ, you're not around a ton of players that are going to ask those types of questions, that early on. So you could see some pretty special, traits developing early on.
Yeah, I mean, when we were at the Combine, we had an opportunity to talk to him, but when he was at the podium, it really stood out to me where he talked about his preparation for game day throughout the week and how he's really become obsessed with the tape and breaking it down into different increments each day, itemizing third down clips, and different looks and quarterback tendencies. And he said that for him was really what has unlocked him to this NFL potential. And when we talked to him one-on-one, he said that started in high school. So I'm curious from your perspective, where did you see that light come on for Dillon?
Yeah, I think it helps that, our head coach at the time, Jake Gilbert, used to coach in college. I played for him at Wabash College. So we tried to model a lot of our program with the collegiate feel. And I think, certain guys, they take to it a little bit differently. You can show them some tape and third down clips and red zone, and we kind of have our own, weekly plan here. But, guys like Dillon, they take it to a whole nother level. Now they're interacting, they're asking you questions about that. And, now that he has, maybe a little bit more freedom, certainly when he's in college and now at the NFL, that time to study, he's going to love every minute of it because that's the kind of kid he is. And he's going to ask different questions and, do a deep dive. And I think, you can have the elite physical traits, which he certainly does. A lot of players do, but if you don't get to the correct place at the right time, then it doesn't really do you any good. So I think the preparation for him allows him to, put his speed on the film.
If you were just to define his one superpower, the biggest thing that separates him from the other guys that you coach, what would you say?
Consistency. I mean, I think, some guys can have elite habits on, a couple days, but can you do it, every single day when you're in the building? I think the consistency factor, what Chicago's getting, he's going to be driven in all different facets to try to get every ounce out of this, experience and deliver for the city. So, I definitely think you're going to see that. You show up whatever random day it may be on training camp. I mean, that same Dillon, that work, ethic's going to be there.
He kind of strikes me as a guy that's got some piss and vinegar, like reading through things from high school and college. Doesn't sound like he wants to hear too much about how great he is. And, I'm sure you've coached so many different types of players and, positive affirmation and trying to make sure everybody feels good. And like, he don't want to hear any of that stuff. Like, how unique is that to coach a guy like that is just constantly trying to harp on what he's not doing right versus trying to focus on, all the greatness.
Yeah, I think he's always been about the process. Sometimes you get guys that get so focused on the finish line. Okay, I've made it to college or I've made it to be a starter. In his case, I mean, he's continually looking to say, hey, how can I get this full potential and increase it even further? So I think you're not going to see that slow down in the pros. This isn't like a finish line for him because I think he now understands, first round draft pick, what that means, not just to the city of Chicago, but, all the kids that are looking up to him here at Westfield. And, I think he's going to want that kind of pressure and he's going to, want to produce.
So 20 years from now, when they're doing the Dillon Thieneman documentary after he has a game-winning interception for a touchdown in the Super Bowl.
I'll do it.
And they're asking you, what was the one play, if you could say there's one play that you can remember from his career and coaching with him that you can recall, what would that play be?
Yeah, I mean, there's some pretty good ones to go back on, but I know you said, hey, a little, piss and vinegar here with him. So I remember a sideline play. He was just coming back from not a huge injury, but a little bit of a tweak on the knee for a couple of weeks. And it was kind of the first game back against a really high-level opponent. And, he went to the sideline, and I'm pretty sure the quarterback didn't want to run it the rest of the night. So he, depleted him on the sideline. And that's where you see a lot of the ball skills, but then you turn on the tape and you see there's still a physical nature, behind his play. And that's what I think, being a Chicago Bears fan, my whole life growing up, I mean, I'm excited because I think he's going to fit in because when he delivers one of those hits, it's a little different in Chicago. I mean, these fans really value the defensive side of the ball, and, plays like that, I think, going to get him to stand out.
You want to give a NFL comp for him, Josh? Somebody who perhaps you might, at least somewhat turn into?
Yeah, I mean, you had Vikings, what was it, Harrison Smith over there. I think the cerebral player that is, but, the different schemes where he's going to be able to manipulate, the communication, the disguise, all those type of things. I've been a guy who's been in the league for a long time. So I think, his traits, his habits, hopefully will prolong his, pro career and give him an opportunity to make the guys around him better as well.
So I got a direct line to Dennis Allen here, Josh, and I'm looking at Dillon perhaps helping in the slot. Do you think he can? How do you think he'd match up against an Amon-Ra who had two of his he had 5 games, with 9 catches or more. 2 of them was against the Bears. It felt like he caught 100 balls in those games. They couldn't run with him, bottom line. And if they had the greatest pass rush ever, he was still getting the ball. So I'm thinking he might have, that's a high level degree of difficulty there. But you think maybe? What do you think?
He's pretty versatile. I mean, when he was a young, pup for us here, he got on the field playing some corner. So he started there. He had a little nickel here and there, and has played both safety spots. So the versatility for him, a lot of times he probably drew whatever team's best matchup in high school, and we either put him over the top or sometimes lining up down there in man coverage. So I'm pretty sure if Coach Allen's wanting him to do something, he's gonna do whatever he says and be ready to step up the challenge.
What was his family like, around your program? You got two older brothers who obviously had such a big influence on his work ethic and focus, and his dad's a construction guy. I love that. That's why we got the bricks here on the set. What was that like to kind of have those guys kind of around and helping kind of nurture and develop this guy as you guys were bringing him through the program?
Yeah, I think the family has always been super supportive. I mean, that was one thing that was fun, just the last weekend, being over there and getting to celebrate at their draft party, and, just seeing how highly, the brothers spoke, of each other, and just how they really embraced, Dillon throughout the whole, process of it all. And I think you see just a level-headedness of the family to continue to, support him, whether it was at Purdue or Oregon, and, not really missing, games and just being out there to support him. So it was pretty fun to just see, the number of lives that really Dillon has impacted, in this process.
Do you see him as more of a quiet guy in the locker room, just lead by example type?
I think he's going to go about his business. I think he's a pretty, serious guy when it comes to football, but I think when you get to know him, there's a side of him too where he's going to be able to connect with a lot of different players. And I think he's not afraid to shy away if it's going to, help the finished product on the field. I mean, he's great about communicating out there and getting guys in the right position too.
When you're talking, when we're talking about his improvement and how much he focuses on what he's not doing right, what would you say has been the biggest growth over the 8 years from high school to college that you've seen out of Dillon?
Yeah, I think he takes different pieces and he continues to improve upon them. He's always kind of had the ball hawk nature, but I think that improved early on, Purdue, just the consistency of that. I think he'd be the first probably to tell you that, really honing in on the open field tackling, and you see that there's some great elite space players, which you just mentioned. So I think that'll be a piece that, he keeps, grinding on, but certainly, you can see him growing in those elements too of using that speed and space.
Yeah, I don't really seem to. We were talking with our draft expert here at ALLCITY, Fran Duffy, and there's been just different draft guys that will talk about like he's got to become a better tackler. But I'm looking at his stats in high school and college, and all he does is rack up 100 tackles a year. So I find that fascinating. It just shows that he's a willing tackler, but I guess for someone like me that doesn't appreciate the nuance, there's so much more to being an elite tackler, but the effort's always going to be there.
I think we get spoiled with the fact that he's around the football so much, and you have such a high expectation of players like Dillon. So when there maybe is a missed tackle or something doesn't quite go their way, it's easy to hone in on those few plays and forget about the 95% of where he's getting it done.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh, do you think he'll remember for the rest of his life that everybody thought he was going to go to Minnesota and the Vikings passed on him for an injured player, and now he's going to be, playing him twice a year?
Well, I can tell you that a lot of college teams, that maybe didn't take a chance on him, he was pretty fired up to, go ahead and prove that, hey, he could do it at a high level. So I'm sure it won't be any different here in the NFL.
Well, the Northwestern Wildcats, who I root for, they recruited him, man. He was in the uniform. He wouldn't have had to even transfer out to Oregon. He wouldn't have, dealing with playing for that sad-ass program in West Lafayette. He could have just stayed in Evanston. Do you think he regrets not being a Wildcat? I'm mostly kidding here, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure for you, he probably would have been there and done a great job, and you would have loved it, but I think he's happy with how it's turned out, obviously, with the path.
I think it worked out all right.
Yeah, he would have. Yeah, no, it did, but he would have had a better degree, would have won more games.
Well, I mean, the biggest bone, not the bone I have to pick with you, Josh, but do you guys feel how did you guys not get Braden Smith on the football field? I mean, you got Dillon Thieneman out there, but Braden Smith's out there running around your high school. How did you not find a way to get him running back, wide quarterback? I mean, he had the most passes in college basketball history for assists. He could have been your quarterback.
Yeah, he played a little bit when he was younger. I think I'm going to have to take that up with Jenny. His mom's our assistant AD, and she's great. And I think she was pretty focused in on, hey, let's just make sure he enjoys his basketball journey. But I always, kind of bugger about that too. Hey, what could have been here? We could have used him out there too.
Well, we joked about, hey, you got to give Dillon all the credit for you becoming a head coach at Westfield, and congratulations on that. But I am curious, if there was any ways that he helped you become a better coach.
Absolutely. I mean, I think anytime you coach somebody who's going to be that high football IQ, you want to have your stuff together as a coach. I mean, that's no different in the NFL. I mean, you want to make sure you put them in position to succeed. And I think it challenges you. And I think it also allows you to think outside the box. You can get so focused on, hey, this is our scheme, and you forget this is our player, right? And I think you learn how to put your best players in position to really use their skill sets and lead effectively on the field too. So, sometimes we would maybe do a little bit more elaborate things, especially for a high school program, from a coverage standpoint, but that's because we had a guy like him, leading the charge in the back half.
Who's the up-and-comers for Westfield coming up next? Who are the next guys we're going to be hearing about?
Yeah, I mean, I think we have some pretty good pieces here. I mean, we got a big, senior lineman, Nick Sherman, who's getting a lot of, publicity right now. He's certainly deserving of that. You're going to see our 28 class, our quarterback, Cooper Melvin's really good players, some young tight ends. I know you'll hear the name Caden Snow, Henry Everett. So there's quite a few guys, but I think what's great is, our program really family-based, and, our guys buy into just the collective unit and the group. So we're excited for them coming back.
I had to get a little scouting report. I'm from Crown Point, so if we see you guys down the road, I got to make sure I know who to look out for to give my guys a heads up.
Greg's also does
I'm a region rat too, so I know them well.
Well, that's crazy because Dillon is too. His whole family. It's pretty wild. The region runs deep, and it's much to the chagrin of Mark, who's now finding out what the region is all about. And the Bears might be in the region. You never know. So,
Josh, we all know the Bears are not going to Indiana.
I'm a little skeptical there too, but we'll see what happens.
We'll see. I assume you're going to come see him play, though, and I just want to remind you that the number 1 tailgate in Chicago is with us.
That's right.
At Wabash at Sturbeck. So you carte blanche. You are, you're welcome to come out. Get yourself in the right frame of mind before he takes the field at Soldier Field. So you're welcome to come. We appreciate the time, and congrats on all the success, Josh.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Hey, shout out to our friends at Sunnyside Dispensary. They are here to elevate your baseball season, which is just being elevated. Look at those White Sox. I'll mention it again. 2 games back. Sunnyside, by the way, you're home for judgment-free shopping. Of course, if you go by Wrigley, they got a store right there for you. They got stores wherever you need to be. And, of course, you can order online. Go to the website. Only the best under the sun, including 50% off your first 3 online purchases. 100 different strains to choose from. It's a crazy selection. It's amazing. And look, you can get yourself an incredible value when you put in the promo code HICHGO, HICHGO. Put that in at checkout to qualify. 50% off your first 3 online purchases. Sunnyside Dispensary, only the best under the sun, and only for 21 and older or Illinois medical card holders.
And if you're watching right now on YouTube, I want you to take just a glorious look at that juicy bone-up beef right there on the bottom of your screen. And if you're listening to the podcast, just imagine it right now, because May is beef month. Carm, we're almost there. It's almost beef month, and we're going to have beef all month.
All month.
You and me, between each other.
Well, we're having a lot of beef around here.
We are? Well, there's lots of Bona beef, and it's because the Bona World Beef Championship is coming up. You can eat or share as much beef as you possibly can during the month of May. It's National Beef Month, and all who reach the championship level of 50 beefs during May will receive 61,400, very specific number, bonus points on bonus rewards points, good for beef or any item on the Bona menu. Be the hero. Use the Bona app to order beefs for your friends and family and office mates. Just keep them coming. Get ready to play. Bonus rewards start to accumulate once you've reached 5 beef orders in May. Details at BUONA.com. All right, well, welcome back, and thank you to Josh Miracle.
Love that guy.
For a great interview, learning more about Dillon Thieneman. That was fun. It's always good. I always like getting the high school perspective. That's when these kids are still innocent and
Love of the game.
You know,
not doing it for the money. Doing it for the love of Indiana.
Yep.
The
I agree.
region.
love of Indiana. All right, it is time now to take the temp, where we are always we always take the temp, courtesy of Four Seasons, your trusted local experts for heating, air conditioning, plumbing, sewer, and electric. They've been serving Chicagoland for over 50 years. Visit fourseasonsheatingcooling.com for all their special offers and money-saving coupons. That's fourseasonsheatingcooling.com. Go ahead, Greg.
For all the right reasons, call 866-4 Seasons.
Carm.
Okay, so I wanted to take the temp on sort of the offseason and more specifically the one player away conversation that we have all the time.
Myles Garrett.
Right. Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Dexter Lawrence could have fallen in that if the Bears had made a sort of an all-in play to get their defensive tackle that could be the moose on that defensive line they don't have, right? Well, they didn't do any of that because I think we would all agree that they're not one player away. So they kicked the can down the road on acquiring somebody of that ilk, mortgaging draft picks. They said no in 2026. But what I think they did was continue to solidify the foundation. And the foundation of this team, as we talked about yesterday, I'm just going to remind everybody, is the number one draft pick. And it's 100% how this is going to end up is how far, how successful, how quickly they can get Caleb Williams to as close to an elite level that he can possibly be. A top 5 quarterback, a top 7, top 8, top 1. Why take anything off the table, right? So what did they do this year? Well, again, they didn't look at themselves as one player away. They looked at, we need to continue to support our foundation. We had a major foundation loss. We had a breach in the foundation. We needed Gregory to come by with the brick by brick when Drew Dahlman went out the door. We need a little bit of sturdiness here. Let's go get Garrett Bradbury. We need more sturdiness because that thing might fall apart in a year. So let me go draft a guy that could actually be there for a long time and be a major foundational piece, foundational support in Logan Jones. So they draft the center at number 57. Huge foundational pieces. What about the tight end room? Well, they lost the third tight end. How about let's sturdy it up with somebody who can block. This is how we're going to run our offense. We run a lot of third tight ends. So yes, we're gonna take another pick on a supporting foundational piece in Sam Roush. And then how do we get better field position? Let's set up Caleb at the 40 and not at the 20. Let's go get a guy who we think is going to give our offense a chance to succeed at a very high level. We're going to go draft Xavier Thomas, put him on punt returns, on kick returns, and we'll use him however we're going to use it. But these are all just functioning foundational pieces, all setting it up to, if it hits, then you can go into next offseason and you can actually say, well, they are one player away and we are this close to a Super Bowl. So we can go out and make a very logical case that indeed it is worth it for us to trade for what I'm going to call the roof on the foundation, which are expensive. And the roof would be a Max Crosby, would be a Myles Garrett, would be somebody of the Dexter Lawrence ilk. The final over the top, get you, we're done, we're paying for it, we're getting it, it's going to last, and we're making the deal.
So I think it's all well said, but I think the most important part of all of that is what you said about the quarterback and how the one player away that they actually are is how good Caleb can actually be. Because I've said this a few times, but what do Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Micah Parsons is a little bit different, but who else do you want to throw in there? I mean, even Trey Hendrickson when he was on the Bengals. Like, what do they all have in common? 0 Super Bowl rings. And most of them, well, not most of them, but especially in Max Crosby's case and Myles Garrett, they're playing in places where they don't have a really, really good quarterback.
Right, you need both.
Well, but I guess what I'm getting at, Carmen, is you need the quarterback.
Right. Or
you need to start with the quarterback.
Right. So
and when you have that guy, you don't necessarily need the over-the-top pass rusher. They're great to have, But there's a overwhelming amount of evidence that says that money might be better spent elsewhere because the teams that are actually winning the Super Bowl don't necessarily have that guy.
Well,
now I would argue with the Chiefs, they did have Chris Jones. That's a different type of elite pass rusher, but it was definitely a difference maker. But again, he's not the edge rusher making $30 million. So, but they have Mahomes. So it always starts with the quarterback. And that's why, once again, to me, going all in on Caleb right now, getting him every piece from the coach to the third tight end is most important to make sure that the train stays on the tracks.
Yeah, I mean, whether they go big on a Chris Jones, a Myles Garrett, and spend all the money, trade picks, that's one way to do it. Obviously, the most recent example of the Seahawks is they were able to draft a ton of players and build out a rotational defensive line, and maybe they will go about it that way. But I do think that we're still in, to me, that like when you really look at what they did this offseason, it is bolstering the foundation of the quarterback and putting all the pieces in place, and then they finally can take their big swing, whatever that will be next year. I mean, that's how I'm looking at the logic of their choices to this point. To me
that they're bolstering Ben Johnson's offense, and I think Caleb Williams elevates that vision, but I think Ben Johnson believes that he can do this with a lot of different types of quarterbacks. I think.
Well, if you want to say they're building it all around Tyson, I mean, I'm not going to.
Oh, that's why I was surprised you went there. But like to me, it is about building the foundation of what Ben Johnson wants for his offensive principles. And when you talk about one player away, maybe you're looking ahead to next offseason and maybe being able to take that swing. I don't know if that'll be the case because you might cut Dio Dangbo, you might cut Grady Jarrett, you might cut Montez Sweat. You might cut Jalen Johnson. And now that money, you'll have a lot of money, but you're going to have to fill those pieces. You got to draft. So, it just appears to me that this is kind of the approach they're going to take. But this offense, Ben Johnson wanted to leave nothing to be denied over his first 2 years in terms of how he was building. He drafts a tight end last year. He drafts a wide receiver last year. He drafts an offensive lineman. This year he comes in and does the exact same thing. Drafts a tight end, drafts a wide receiver, drafts an offensive lineman. And so they're going to make sure this offense is where it needs to be so Ben Johnson can run it in his vision.
All right, we got to take our final timeout. I do have a thought on that and some other things before we get out of here. Hit that like button. Where are we on the likes? We'll catch you up on the other side of this break. But first. Hey, Bears fans, keep your eyes up. You never know when those pedestrians are just going to come out of nowhere. Spano and Steven walking to lunch right now. They probably just didn't even look. Just straight across Madison Avenue. You got to be on the lookout.
Power walk. Those guys got great biceps.
Spano's not stopping for anybody.
There's no doubt.
Especially with the biceps. Staying alert for pedestrians is part of every drive. When you're on the road, remember to watch for pedestrians and be ready to stop. Those cyclists are out there, too. They never stop.
They don't.
I've never seen one stop ever.
Greg Bragg should be a cyclist.
He doesn't know how to ride a bike. Riding alongside traffic and sharing the road.
Out of respect to IDOT, if I saw you riding a bike, I would be safe around you.
Thank you so much.
Out of respect to IDOT.
I appreciate that.
That's good respect. Hey, give them the space when you pass. Check your mirrors, Carm, and always look twice before turning. I know you always do that. Let's make sure everyone reaches the end zone safely. Stop for pedestrians. It's not a game.
Shout out to IDOT and shout out to our friends at Shady Rays. You know that moment, the one when you realize you left your favorite sunglasses on the top of Greg Bragg's car and he pulled away and ran him over because he doesn't like you, or you left him at the gas station, or you left him really anywhere. But hey, oh my God, I bought my sunglasses at Shady Rays, and yes, they will send you a new pair, no questions asked. It's a beautiful thing. And by the way, these are unbelievable shades, good looking, polarized, durable, not stupidly expensive. You're getting good value, all the good things. So you can wear your sunglasses without fear on the hikes, on the concerts, on the boat, Hogue boat, wherever. Shady Rays has your back. This is what you do. You go to ShadyRays.com and use the code CHGOSR, and you get 50% off 2 pairs or more of polarized sunglasses. That's a great deal. Shout out to Shady Rays.
All right, shout out to the Iceberg, who is our guy and is very, very generous as a human being, and he is gifting out 10 CHGO Sports YouTube memberships right now because we did hit 200 likes. I forget all the math on that. Do we have that original message he sent? Because there were tiers to this.
The Iceberg
can keep giving them out if we can keep getting the likes up.
He'll donate 50 memberships instead of 10 if we get to 250.
250?
A lot of numbers there.
250 gets
500 gets 50.
There you go.
So we can get to 500. How many people do we have watching right now?
510 watching. So every single one of you
hit the like button. It takes 2 seconds.
Yeah.
What is this, the off season? Where is everybody?
The draft ended and everybody left?
Listen, I know that everybody out there who's not watching right now will watch later. It's just that they're busy today. And or the show's dying and we'll never do this again. And Greg will go back to bricklaying. One of the two will happen.
Well, that got dark really fast.
Well, I mean, I'm optimistic that won't happen, but you wanted to do that a couple of weeks ago, but at least
one of us has a fallback.
Oh, I have no fallback. I'm going. If this ends, I'm going to Botswana, and I'll hang out until I have no more money, and then we'll figure
Put you
out
in the circus and let you play the harmonica.
Listen, there's no plan. You're 100% right. You have a fallback. I do not.
All right. Speaking of depressing, anybody want a stadium update?
Not really.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
It's a great non-update update.
Because it was the big meeting today.
We got the big stadium committee meeting that's been talked about as such a big deal. Well, shout out to Courtney Cronin who got the details on this one. She tweeted right before our show started, Chicago Bears brass met virtually today with the NFL Stadium Committee to discuss the team's 2 proposed stadium sites. The Bears presented an update on Arlington Heights and Hammond, Indiana. Per source, the committee members agreed that these 2 sites are the only viable options and expressed a need to move the process forward expeditiously. There was a no vote taken, but the Stadium Committee will meet again within 2 weeks.
All right.
Source says that the committee also acknowledged the Illinois legislature needs to continue to work to move the process forward, which will now require the pilot bill to move through the Senate.
You want to get can I get my own stadium update?
Well, what a waste of time that meeting was today. Is my
like how they were like, oh, we're only going to meet virtually because we're afraid of the Bears brass after we screwed you out of a 3rd-round pick a few days ago.
That's a great point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
What's your update? Because it better be better than whatever Hoge just said.
My update is...
If yours isn't good, then you better have
one. Well, my update is this. You broke me. I don't care.
You're out?
I am out.
Yeah.
I could give a rat's ass if they show up at Arlington Heights or in Indiana. It's the same to me. You're leaving Chicago. That sucks. Do I care if I'm going out to Arlington Heights for our tailgates or going to Hambone, Indiana for the I really don't care. Sorry. I'm not getting what I wanted. I tried as hard as I could. It made the most sense always to sell the land to the Bears in the city, which the mayor said that was okay. Cam Buckner said that was okay. Just never got anywhere because they didn't go about it right. Now we're either going to Hambone or Arlington Heights, AH. Like, I could care less. I'm not going to go. I don't care. I'll watch the games. We'll figure out what the tailgate situation is if we make it that far in 17 years when this thing is built. But I officially don't care. But there's no at all.
Yeah, I've moved on to the White Sox Stadium. And
that's what they're doing. That's the slow-moving coup.
They got me. You got me.
They're trying to get everyone to not care.
They don't.
And then they're going to the Mayflower in the middle of the night.
The Mayflower trucks, for the record.
Yeah, not the boat,
moving trucks.
not the ship.
Yeah, not the ship. I mean, they could take the ship across Lake Michigan.
That's true.
And down the river. I'm sure it connects to Wolf Lake somehow, right?
Yeah.
It's all water.
It's right there.
Sure.
Yeah, use an airboat. I don't know.
Wolf Lake.
I want to give a shout out to these ballpark enthusiast that submitted this through Chicago Magazine. I don't know how realistic it is, but we've kind of jumped the shark a little bit on stadiums in general. There's way too much going into like corporate sponsorships and suites and all these things and how to get a Super Bowl. And like I get it, especially in probably the NFL world, but this is probably not realistic what they propose here for this new White Sox stadium, but it looks a lot like the old Comiskey Park. And the whole point is to bring fans back closer to the game that's being played.
That place looks sweet.
Because every ballpark being built now has like 3 levels of suites between every next deck, right? And you realize, like I like Miller Park, whatever it's called now, and sorry to bring up the escalators, but the escalators, when you get there, they shoot you to the moon.
Yeah, they do.
Well, and then down from the moon. But like, in all seriousness, like they're like, oh, I have to go up that high. Like, so I don't think this is realistic because it's probably not going to include the suites and not going to include all the corporate sponsorships and all these things. But if they actually build this thing for the fans and maybe lower concession prices, we could actually have a stadium in this town that is for the people, the real fans that want to go to these games. I would love it.
Well, the White Sox, for the record, do a better job promoting what you're doing because I was there last night. And on Tuesday night, do you know what they do for fans on Tuesday night?
I haven't been to a game in like 2 years.
Right.
It's pretty crazy, Hoge. They take a fan from the stands and they let him play second base for 3 innings.
Oh, I would actually do that. I played second base.
It was awesome.
Is this the brews and beers and the tickets?
$5 for a beer. $5 for 12-ounce Miller Lite. They're walking around
every Tuesday.
Yeah.
Okay.
$5 beers on a Tuesday night. You should be.
I don't want to give them props for that. That should be every night.
Great. Agreed. Should be every night, but at
Bring
least
back
it's
Dollar
Tuesday.
Dog Wednesday too.
What is it?
Dollar Dog Wednesday. That was the best promotion ever.
Yeah, is that still there?
No.
You got rid of the Dollar Dogs.
Yeah.
Well, listen, $5 Miller Lights.
The overhead on the hot dogs. Ugh.
Well, nowadays. But listen, $5 Miller Lights is not exactly.
Tariffs on hot dogs now? What's happening?
Everything's more expensive. That hot dog is, So I'm just telling you, I was very pleased to be able to pay $5 for a beer at a ball game. So
it beats $14.
Exactly, by a lot.
Which when I was at the Diamondbacks game last month, that's what it cost.
How many dollars does it beat $14 by when you're paying $5?
$9.
There.
And this is important. Did you say it was a 12-ounce beer too?
12.
That's the other thing. Don't hand me the double beer can when it's 90 degrees out. The thing's going to be warm by the time I get halfway through it. Some of us just want 12 ounces of beer. I'm not there to get hammered drunk.
I mean, it would be better if it was $3 for a 12-ounce, but $5 is good. We'll take it. We will take it.
My point is you can't even buy anything less than 16 ounces anywhere.
Yeah, okay.
So the fact that they have that.
I like a nice 12-ouncer. You want a nice cold beer that you don't have to chug, and it'll stay cold the entire time you're drinking it. There you go, Adam Hoge, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm here for the people. I'm going to keep fighting for you. We're going to lower concession prices. I feel like I'm running for office right now.
Yeah.
If I was running for office, we'd have a stadium already, I promise you.
Steven, did you see what I slacked you, by the way? It's very important.
No, this can't be good.
Oh, it's excellent.
Oh, is this the 158 slack to Steven?
Yeah. It's the 158.
That you're known for?
I'm sorry, things happen during
too bad.
the show.
This is actually good.
Yeah, it's great.
I'll get it.
It's too bad Greg stopped listening 3 minutes ago because he missed a really funny thing I just said.
Whatever you guys got.
Hey, Greg.
What are you doing over there?
I was looking for this. I thought I screenshotted this thing because I saw that Atlanta brought one of the Bears scouts. Ian Cunningham poached one of our scouts. And now I'm like officially getting sick of the Falcons.
Do we get comp picks for that?
Exactly. It's like first Pace goes over there and we're like, fine, take him, right? and then he took all the Bears bad players. Like, good, take them too. You want Diodemo? But now the Ian Cunningham thing. Obviously, we're all pissed off about. And now they go and bring over a scout. And I just at some point, we're going to have to fight them.
Well, good. They're on the schedule this year, Greg.
Meet up. That's true. It's in Atlanta.
Unless it's in Spain.
It's in Atlanta unless it's in Spain. And I hope it's in Spain. Neutral territory, and we'll find a parking lot, and we'll kick your ass, Atlanta. back off our team. Stop poaching our players, our coaches, and our scouts. Can you not figure out how to be a good organization without mirroring everything the Bears do? You morons.
You had a great rant going there until the end.
It was horrible. But brilliant at the same time.
For more rants like that, become a diehard and whatnot.
Leave us alone.
No,
don't worry.
Become a diehard.
Are you? Is this a fake worry or a real worry?
I just am sick of them. You know, after what happened with the draft pick, I'm sick of them.
Use code Johns for $36 diehard offer.
You don't see us trying to take 2 chains.
You could use code Brags, and it'll cost 5 times as much, but it'll still
give
be
us
a great
ludicrous.
offer. As we head to overtime here on the Chicago, whatever we are called, CHGO Bears Podcast.
We're doing a great job.
Shout
today.
out to our CEO.
Yeah, shout out to Brandon. The guy's phenomenal.
If you have any complaints with the show today, send it to our CEO who stole our producer 45 minutes before the show started.
For a transcript of Steven and Brandon's lunch, email steven.nicholas@.nicholassteven.com. He'll let you know everything about it. What are we going to put the breaking news on the show here?
What is the breaking news?
There's breaking news.
Oh yeah, that's where I put the.
There's a new Chicago Bear ish, and he comes via Evanston, Illinois.
Long drive.
The land of the great Northwestern Wildcats. He's got a tremendous lineage of football family history, and this is punting competition. The great Luke Akers has been added to minicamp, which starts a week from Fridays. Luke Akers is going to be booming, and Torrey Taylor's going to be like, wow, competition in the Big Ten. Luke Akers, punter extraordinaire, also kicked field goals for a minute at Northwestern too, but then just went to being the big punter last year. I like Luke. He's a great dude. Guy can boom it. And,
Do you actually know Luke?
I've talked to Luke.
Okay, I'm just asking.
I did a pregame show with a Luke. He's a good Luke.
He also accepted a minicamp invite to the Eagles.
Yeah, this is like feel like this is the first year that I'm like realizing that, like I've seen multiple players, accepting multiple camp invites.
Wait, so he's not coming?
No, that's not true. Okay,
I'd never seen this before.
guys, there's 2 weekends of mini camps.
Right.
Okay, so if you're not signed, UDFAs are not allowed to go to a different mini camp. But for tryout players, they usually will go to one this weekend because a bunch of teams are having their mini camp this weekend. And then they're going to have another one next weekend. That's the Bears, the weekend the Bears are. So the Eagles are obviously having their mini camp this weekend. Now, theoretically, he could go to the mini camp, and they love him, and they sign him. And then he will not be in Lake Forest next week. But for most of these players that are just looking for an opportunity, and all due respect to these tryout players, and don't get me wrong, these teams are looking for other players, but most of them are there to fill out the field so that they could run a practice, including the punter. If you drafted a kick returner / punt returner in the 3rd round, you probably want a punter there to kick the ball up in the air so that you can at least have him practice catching real punts.
Well, I guess I just never seen the graphics where they have like multiple teams with the invite like that. So
that is different. I'll give you that.
Yeah. So
Greg's been flustered.
Hey,
all right.
Listen.
All right. And then now I'm finding out here in the chat that Ludacris is actually from Illinois and they stole him too. This is exactly what I'm talking about. Now we're definitely fighting.
Wait, Ludacris is from Champaign?
Yeah, they're arguing about I guess from Oak Park, maybe.
What's your favorite?
But regardless.
Do you have a favorite Ludacris song that you
like
to sing
many.
for us?
Yeah. I've got many
Norton
favorite Ludacris songs.
That Ludacris was born in Champaign and went to OPRF, that is Oak Park River Forest.
That gray couch is Ludacris's couch.
Yeah. That's Ludacris's couch, Luke Stuckmeyer's telling you, buddy.
That's great.
Like it really was Ludacris's? That couch over there was on Ludacris's.
Yeah, I'm almost certain, like, when we got to space, they said this was previously used.
I just sat there 10 minutes ago. Now I'm worried. I'm worried.
Sing a ludicrous
We
song
did
for us.
have another. I can't.
Come on. Get in there. Do
I don't
something.
have the clean version. But there's many ludicrous songs I love. We did have another Northwestern prospect, or what could have been, of course. Unfortunately, it wasn't to be. And this is just strictly to trigger Carman. Here's Dillon Thieneman when he went on an official visit to Northwestern once upon a time and then kindly said, I'm not going to go to this loser school with all these nerds.
Wait, was that really from an official visit,
Yeah.
or did you Photoshop that?
No, that's from his you can go on his Twitter when he had an official visit there.
Listen, he wanted to be a
They made him
wildcat.
put on the pads.
He wanted to be a
Just relax.
How many
Northwestern, you're not
people?
getting them.
How many people in Chicago know that Chip Kelly is Northwestern's offensive coordinator right now?
I know it.
Isn't that wild?
I know it. Because he was.
Good job, Greg. Congrats.
I'm proud of you.
Well, he coached Jerry Azuma in college.
That's right, in New Hampshire.
Who's Purdue's offensive coordinator?
I don't know.
Exactly. Thank you very much. You're a Northwestern fan. You're a Northwestern guy.
Well, how does that make me?
Because you know their OC, but you don't know Purdue's.
Oh, I see.
I don't even know Purdue's head coach.
I'm a Jerry Azuma fan. Okay.
Who is Purdue's head coach?
Is it still that Brown guy? Or did he leave?
Yeah.
It's the
Nobody
Browner?
knows. Maybe they don't have a head coach. Nobody knows.
Which one of your best friends has season tickets?
To Purdue football?
Yes. We've golfed with them.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a good ending of the show. We're really hitting it to the
There isn't as much funniness to the end of this.
I think it's funny.
I think you're funny.
All right.
All right.
Where are we at on these memberships?
You've
Do we have
ran
any
out
other
of steam
supers?
here.
We've gotten more memberships. You want to start with that?
Sure.
So since the last update, the Iceberg has gifted an additional 20, 2 separate 10s.
Great.
Us, CHGO Supporters Club memberships. And we're approaching 300, so there's still time to hit the like button.
All right, hit that like button, get 300. Thanks to the Iceberg, helping everybody out. There's some good content on there, and I promise Steven will do more work and put more content up there for you.
Thanks, Iceberg. But for real.
KPEG 9, $2. This seems like can we figure this one out? Dillon,
The INT man. So Thieneman, the INT man.
It's trying to make it.
nickname.
It doesn't really roll off the tongue.
I
but
liked it. The
It
INT
sucks.
man.
the Int Man.
INT.
No, it sucks.
It's like Thieneman.
Not going to work. Sorry, K-Peg.
Nico Suave, $5. New Mexico Bears. It is. Let's go. LOL. Great show, guys.
Thank you, Nico.
Bears moving into Mexico.
Don Bird does owe me 35 push-ups. He put in the chat that I didn't go to the gym today, and he should know better. And every time you say that I didn't, then you then have to do the push-ups, Don Bird.
Okay, anyway, KPEG 9, $5. Based off the draft, the Jaguars could use a GM that can actually scout. Wonder who they could have hired over Gladstone. Yeah, James Gladstone's getting a lot of heat.
John Clark says here in the chat, Greg, did you go to the gym? You wouldn't want to get Brigger because you said that in that ad read like an idiot.
Good job. Did you?
Yeah, I went to the gym today.
Okay.
I did not. I did Hogan Johns.
Congratulations. It's a great Hogan Johns.
Barry Odom is Purdue's head coach.
Carm watched the
Not
intro. I
Brown.
watched him. I watched him watch the intro.
I watched more of Hogan Johns today than I did yesterday, so I'm getting better.
You watched more Hogan Johns today
After
than you
watching.
have in your entire life.
Yes.
That's not true. I respect Hogan Johns greatly.
That's different.
Did you? I got one snippet for you. Did you see what happened last night in the Stanley Cup playoffs? Hogue.
Probably. Which thing are we talking about?
Well, I thought it was one of the coolest things ever last night. It happened in Buffalo. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about Ryan Whitney's bad chug of the beer?
Nope. Anybody?
Was it the?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. When they couldn't.
The mic went out for the anthem singer.
The Canadian anthem.
As they were singing the Canadian anthem in a Buffalo versus Bruins game.
Well, that's a thing Buffalo does because they're so close to the border. A lot of their fans actually live across the
Right.
border in Canada, so they always do "Oh Canada."
So right, and the mic went out of the anthem singer, whoever was singing the anthem. I should know the name. I don't. and the crowd just went a cappella and sang it, and it was ringing out, and it was really beautiful. So shout out to the Buffalo Sabre fans and the Stanley Cup playoffs. Hockey. Mr. Hockey.
You. Now, there's no chance you were watching that live. You probably saw a clip of it, but I give you credit.
I did see a clip of it. I wasn't watching live, but I am going to. I'm planning, if there is a game 4 on Sunday, I'm planning going to the Wolves playoff game, buddy. 3 o'clock.
I thought he was going to Canada. I was like, please.
I'm working on that.
Who are they playing? I don't even know.
Another hockey team.
Well, it's good. They're not playing like the Savannah Bananas.
It's minor league hockey. It was. I have a great time at Wolves games. I highly recommend playing.
By the way, shout out to the Chicago Wolves who beat the Chicago Blackhawks a few weeks ago at the United Center when the Hurricanes brought up 7 players from the Wolves and the Blackhawks lost 7-2. I really enjoyed going to that game. All right.
Hoge's a season ticket holder.
I am.
Guys all in.
So when they were down like 5, whatever it was, and I was like, oh, it's not so bad. They're playing one of the best teams in hockey. And then I realized they were actually playing the Chicago Wolves. That was depressing. All right, this was fun today, guys. I thought you did a great job with that interview. Braggs did everything today.
Braggs was unbelievable today.
Yeah. Steven did a good job when he was here.
I had a great lunch.
Where'd you guys go?
What's this ramen place right here? Like
I've
right
been to
over
that.
the building, pretty much?
Yeah.
It was good.
What'd you have?
Ramen.
I'm stunned. This guy's never. Have you ever had ramen before in your life?
2 times. It was really good though. It was. Jokes aside.
And this guy
there was like this crispy chicken in there. It was excellent.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go back.
Steven only eats 5 eggs for breakfast and a steak for dinner on the daily, and today he went ramen out of nowhere. It's a big day around here. It's a big day.
We got the eggs in hand.
There's the eggs. There. Okay, can't
Turn
see
into
it.
lunch.
I'm impressed. People are just branching out and doing new things. You all are
Anyway, we'll be back
my
tomorrow.
heroes. Yeah.
1 p.m. You know where to be. Next couple days, we'll still be here. We'll finish out the week. Go check out Hogan John's 10 Bears Things is up today online. Become a diehard. Pat did a great job of editing it.
Tell a friend about the show. We need some help here.
You got a long summer to go, and I don't want to have to just entertain Pizzatola and Boombots.
Pizzatola's off next week. He's looking for something to do. Hoge's working on it.
Is that why you suck it up, dude? He really wants to come in here, doesn't he?
He does. He wants to come in here and scream at me. If you say yes, he'll do it. But
No. See you later, everybody.
We all silly like the mayor.